All right, welcome to ground control. I've had 12 flights on this Eachine Mini Mustang so far. And so I wanted to give you my conclusion on this plane after 12 flights, what I think about it. I think this plane, for what you get, is an excellent value. I was a little apprehensive about it because it has a brushed motor system, but I'll tell you what, after you're out flying it and doing some aerobatic maneuvers, you forget that it has a brushless motor system on it. This plane has the best thrust to weight ratio of any brushed power system plane that I have flown so far. And it has plenty of power to pull that thing through loops and split S maneuvers, reverse split S maneuvers. So I like this plane a lot. I think that this is going to be a big hit for Eachine. I think there's a lot of people that are going to go out and buy this plane. And like I said, for the price, it's ready to fly. Get the 3 battery version. Don't get the 2 battery version. Get the 3 battery version. You're going to want a lot of batteries. Order the 3 battery version and then order some spare batteries for it too. I've got 7 battery packs that will work in this plane. And when I take it out, I quickly fly through all 7 battery packs. Now, a couple of tips for you. If you notice, the first time that let me think about that. I don't know if I put it in manual mode on the first flight. But on one of my first flights, I put it in manual mode. I went from 6-axis mode to 3-axis mode to manual mode. And when I hit manual mode, it immediately nosed up, and it was fairly abrupt. So the plane was out of trim. So here's a tip for you. Before you go out and fly it, make sure that the plane control surfaces are all trimmed out properly. So the only way that you're going to know that is power on your transmitter, bind to it, and then immediately put it into manual mode so the gyro's not moving the control surfaces. And then check all your control surfaces and make sure your control surfaces are in a neutral position. Now on my plane, the reason that it nosed up abruptly when I hit manual mode was because the elevator was not properly trimmed on the plane, and I actually had quite a bit of up elevator when I hit manual mode. It goes back to where its neutral position is, and on mine the neutral position was quite a bit of up elevator on it. So after I finished with that flight session, I trimmed this elevator, and you do that by compressing. If you need to bring your control surface up on the elevator, then you're going to expand this little loop. You're going to spread it out a little bit. In my case, I needed to bring it down, so I just took a pair of needle nose pliers and I compressed that loop on the control rod together until I got it in a neutral position. And now if you watch the last couple of flights that I've had where I go from 6-axis to 3-axis to manual mode, and when I do that, it stays nice and level. It's no longer is it doing that nose up thing, but it could just as easily have been a nose down problem too. So double check that, make sure that your control surfaces are all level. Your control surface is level with the horizontal stabilizer. Your rudder is straight with the vertical stabilizer, and then your ailerons are level with the wing surface in manual mode. Okay, and then you can trim out your plane once you get it in the air, but at least it's not going to be doing any weird things when you switch between modes. Okay, so there's a tip for you. The other tip is mine, where I have to land, it's pretty rough and it's pretty rutted out, and so every time I land, it's going to nose over. So what I did was I bent the wheels forward, so if you look at them, you can see about 2/3 of the top of the wheel extending past the trailing edge of the wing. And I found that by doing that, it's not so nose heavy when it's coming in and going across the rough surface, and it's much less likely to nose over on you. So you might want to do that. Check your tail wheel, make sure your tail wheel's nice and straight. Just roll your plane, across the table or something, and make sure that it's not you know, veering off to one side or the other. I did test the prop saver on here, and I knocked the prop off of it probably 4 or 5 times, primarily when I was coming in for a landing, when it would nose over. But it works great. I haven't had any problems with the motor, the gearbox. The prop just snapped right back on and I was ready to go again. So that was a fantastic idea. My guess is that if they had not instituted this prop saver on here, I probably would have torn up the gears on the gearbox already. So that's fantastic. Anyway, there'll be links to the plane in the show notes, links to spare parts for the planes in the show notes, and links to spare batteries in the show notes, and you're going to want them. You're not going to want to just go fly 2 or 3 packs when you go out to fly this plane. You're going to want a lot of packs. Okay, so this plane gets a big thumbs up for me. I'm having a blast with it, and the most fun it for me is in manual mode, where you can really do a lot of aerobatics with it. So very impressed with the brushed motor system on this plane. Like I said, I've never seen that kind of thrust to weight ratio on a plane with the brushed motor system. So big thumbs up to Eachine. You know, I'm going to be looking for their planes in the future. After flying this one, I will not hesitate to try another one of their planes. So thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the air.